Hello, it is Brekfast coming at you again on this next day. I'm wearing the same clothes um, because I'm recording this on the same day as the last video. And I'll probably be wearing the same clothes for the next video because I'm just going to record these all together. um, Today we're gonna be actually talking about two movies. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be nice. Um, Today we're gonna be talking about Scoob. That was my best Shaggy impression. I'm never doing it again. Um, yes, Scoob is directed by. I only have the last name Cervoni. Sorboni, cause like Scoob. Get it? I'm super funny. Tony Cervoni. That rhymes. Unless I'm pronouncing it wrong, then I'm so sorry. But yes, it came out just last week. No, a couple days ago. I don't know when this video is coming out, but probably like a week ago when this video is coming out. We're also going to be discussing Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, directed by a lot of people, I think. But the name I wrote down was a Stenstrom. Let me look that up. A lot of people. Kazumi Fukushima, Hiroshi Aoyama, sorry if I butchered those names. I should be good on this one. Jim Stenstrom. Yes, and it came out in 1998. A long time ago. Before I was even born. 2 years before I was born. But first we're going to talk about Scoob. I'm going to talk about the new movie first before we get into the old stuff, the classics. The word of the day today is Jinkies. I don't have a definition, as per usual. I'll probably flash it on screen or something. Let me pull that up after I just closed out of Google. Today's definition will be coming from Urban Dictionary. It doesn't say if it's an adjective, a noun, or whatever, but I think it's a noun. Jinkies means that is surprising, often used on classic Scooby-Doo by Velma and occasionally Daphne, used a bit less often in the newer version, but only by Velma. Okay, good definition. So 15 minutes in my notes, the first thing I wrote was, this is going to be the most 2020 Scooby-Doo movie I have ever seen. Simon Cowell is in the first 15 minutes of this movie. By the way, this is going to be a spoiler review. I'm not going to get too much into spoilers, probably like mild spoilers, but if you care about that kind of stuff, don't watch this video. The writing in this movie is fairly lazy at times. There's an over-reliance on this superhero plot, and I wasn't a Hanna-Barbera kid from the 90s or anything. I was more like SpongeBob SquarePants and Avatar: The Last Airbender, but there are a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters in this movie. I think that the film relies too heavily on them. I'd say there are more Hanna-Barbera characters in this movie than there are Scooby-Doo characters. Blue Falcon and I think, what's it called, the Robo Pup. He's they're both, and the African American girl. They're all Dee Dee Skies or something. They're all Hanna-Barbera characters. And there's another one who is definitely not Fred Flintstone. Take that as you will. Another one appears around like the second act of this film. But yeah, this movie relies too heavily on them rather than just being a pure Scooby-Doo movie. I would have preferred a cliche Scooby-Doo movie than the movie we got, to be honest. Because these characters, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. These characters, Blue Falcon, Robo Pup, Dee Dee Skies, they're just not enjoyable to watch. They're not deep at all. They don't go into their character. The writers don't go into their character at all. They're just kind of there just to be there, and they take up a lot of the screen time too. They're in the whole movie. The whole movie. They're in it. Um, we only get, in a flashback sequence at the very beginning, we get the gang completely together. That's another thing that they do. I'll talk about that later. They split up the gang. But first, let me finish my thoughts on these shitty Blue Falcon and Dee Dee Sky's characters. They're just not enjoyable to watch. They're extremely uninteresting, and they embody everything I hate about this movie in terms of personality and humor. I guess I'll take this time to talk about the voice acting as well. Um, I think everyone's gonna want to hear my thoughts on Will Forte's Shaggy. I don't understand why they didn't just get Matt Lillard. Um, I Matthew Lillard. I don't know if he goes by Matt. I called him Matt. I don't know why they didn't just get him. He works. He's in all the other, like, the recent, like, cartoon movies, like Return to Zombie Island. I think he's probably in the John Cena one. He's I don't know why they didn't just get him. Like, he works. So I feel like Will Forte is not even like that popular an actor. They probably would have been better off if they just got Matthew Lillard. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. As for the other characters, they're good. They're like, the voice acting isn't bad in this movie. Like, even Will Forte as Shaggy, I wasn't like overly, pissed off or, annoyed or anything. I was just like, why didn't they just get Matthew Lillard? But, all the voice acting in this film is fine. There's no like exceptionally bad performances or anything, I'd say. Ken Jeong's in this movie, which is just weird. He plays RoboPup, and he just doesn't seem like Ken Jeong. He's not fucking. He's very serious. It's just weird. Why did they cast this, like, Ken Jeong as this serious dog? Like, he's not funny in the movie. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, just weird, kind of weird casting decisions, I guess. But nothing like, a lot of the actors are big name actors too. Like, Mark Wahlberg's in this movie, Zac Efron's in this movie, Gina Rodriguez is in this movie, and she makes Velma Hispanic. I don't know if Velma's been Hispanic before, but she says increíble in this movie. And I just thought Velma was white, but maybe not. I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? She might have just learned Spanish. It doesn't hurt anybody. Something I did like about this movie was that it has pretty fun, sequences. It's very fun in sequences, but when the action stops, I just it's just it's just boring. I even for a kid, I feel like it would just be boring. Obviously I didn't get the chance to see this movie in a theater or anything, but from, like, if I was a kid, I'm thinking, if I was a kid, I feel like I wouldn't enjoy a lot of the stuff that happens outside of the action. I didn't find myself laughing too much, but I also didn't find myself laughing, too little. The humor in this is just, I'd say it's average, maybe a little bit below average. I can't remember, like, anything that made me, like, laugh out loud or anything, so I guess that's something to say about it. And at times, I think the characters were taken in the wrong direction. Let's talk about splitting up the mystery gang. Not a good idea in a Scooby-Doo movie. They split up Scooby and Shaggy to be with these superhero characters, and then Fred, Velma, and Daphne were kind of off on their own for a lot of the movie. I think the moments with Fred, Daphne, and Velma were more enjoyable than the moments with Scooby and Shaggy with fucking superheroes. And imagine if they were just all together. It would have been 10 times more enjoyable. Yeah, that's weird. Why like, I'm thinking, why when you're writing this, why would you make a Scooby-Doo movie and split up Scooby-Doo and Shaggy from Velma, Daphne, and Fred? That's an extreme risk, and I think it could have worked. They could have made it work, yes, but it just didn't in this movie, because of the whole superhero subplot and shit. That makes me mad because I really do like Scooby-Doo. I never like grew up on it or anything, but you know, it's Scooby-Doo. I watched the live action movies as a kid. Scooby-Doo 2 was amazing as a kid. I loved that shit. I watched the new Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated show on Netflix a long time ago when that first came on Netflix. That was really that was a pretty good show from what I remember. But yeah, I love these characters. I mean, they're great characters. Why would you split them up? like especially after like I said, they could have made it work, but like I won't say like there's no way they could have made it work because obviously anything can work, but this movie didn't make it work, and that's my issue with it. Also, there's I'm going into spoilers, but Scooby kind of takes on the superhero persona, and Shaggy is mad at him for that, because he kind of feels like Scooby's kind of abandoning him. And why 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 I hate. First of all, I've seen that it's been done so many times. Second of all, it's just stupid. Like I feel like Scooby wouldn't do that to Shaggy. It just felt kind of it felt awkward and out of character in my eyes. But yeah, that uh, just another sub kind of plot that just irks me. It's not good. It's not, it's nothing special. It doesn't make this movie stand out in any way. And let's talk about the villain. Dick Dastardly. He's another Hanna-Barbera character that I hadn't even heard about before this movie. But yeah, this I can't speak for his other cartoons, but this character is just not it. Throughout the entire movie, I'm just like, what? He's very he's like the superheroes. He's just very uninteresting. He has I will say he has a redeemable quality at the very end. Um, but if they had brought that up, or if they had like worked with that previously earlier into the film, I would have liked them a lot more than what we got. Also, there's a lot of bowling in this movie. There's a whole sequence at the beginning where they're just bowling, and it comes up again at the end. I want to see a Scooby Doo themed Big Lebowski movie. How badass would that be? I don't know. I just had to bring that up. I thought of that. It's in my notes. I thought of that while I was watching the movie. Anyway, let's conclude with Scoob. This movie was. I'll give it this. It was fun at times. It was heartfelt, especially at the end. In the last 15 minutes, is super heartfelt. I'll say the last 15 minutes is the best. Is the best part of the movie. It's the part where it shines. It's the part where the whole gang's together. They work together to defeat a big bad, and there's a pretty heartbreaking moment in the end. I'll give it that. Other than that, nothing super special here. It's very just your average kids movie. I won't say it's the worst thing in the world, but it's nothing special. It's nothing, it's no Pixar level of greatness or anything. It's fun. It's a fun kids movie. It's very much for kids. Fans of Scooby-Doo, old school fans of Scooby-Doo might find enjoyment in this, but I'd say not even for the most part. Adults and old school fans of Scooby-Doo will probably be mad that they split up the gang, right? Um, yeah, it doesn't feel like that classic Scooby-Doo. Now let's talk about some classic Scooby-Doo with Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. In contrast to Scoob, this movie starts with the gang split up, and reunites them in the beginning. Um, Very much kind of like this. That reminded me of Scooby-Doo 2002. Um, Obviously, this came before that, but it reminded me of that. I like that concept. I really like that. I liked seeing what they do after, you know, after solving mysteries and, retiring from that. Velma's like a mystery book, or as a worker at like a mystery book store. Scooby and Shaggy are in customs, and they just take all the food from the luggage that they're trying to take on the planes, and they eat it. And it's smart. It's smart stuff. uh Daphne is the only one who's still with the kind of mystery, vibe. I think this is a much better premise and start than to Scoob's premise. Scoob's premise was Simon Cowell comes to them and roasts them, and then they get mad and have to figure stuff out. I guess I don't know. That's literally the start of the new Scooby Doo movie. So I'd say this stuff is much better. um, this movie reminds me of why I wish I was an '80s and a '90s cartoon kid. Um, it's so charming, so charming. It's got that classic style. The animation is smart and funny. Much better than that's what I wish Scoob had. I wish Scoob had more of that, classic '80s and '90s style animation and and feel to it. I think good examples of that are Peanuts and even like something like Spider-Verse, where it just does something more with its animation. Here's something I don't miss about the animation. I do not miss the 2-minute sequences, 3-minute sequences of them just running around uh to the to like '80s and '90s music. Those kind of montage sequences. Um they're fun at times when done right. I obviously it's classic when they're doing like when they're running from the villain. That's fun. But when they're doing it every like, when they do it like 3 times in the same movie, it just gets I think it gets kind of old. But still, I'd prefer that than to what we got in Scoob. Watching this movie made me realize how little Scoob did to kind of take this IP and revitalize it in a new light. It did the opposite of that. It just strayed away from the IP, and that's something that can be upsetting to fans. But this movie is super entertaining, classic, and concise all the way through. I really enjoyed. This was a breath of fresh air after Scoob. It gets pretty morbid at times too. At the very end, it gets very morbid. And that's something I kind of enjoyed. It's not just your simple unmasking and, you know darn those kids, whatever he says. It's and I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. It's nothing like that. It gets pretty surprising and morbid at the end. And if you haven't seen this movie, I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, this film does a good job of kind of taking Scooby-Doo and giving it new light. I'd say you can't go wrong with both of them. Zombie Island's just a lot better. Scoob is iffy. I don't know. You might enjoy it, you might not. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy Scoob. It's just nothing special to me. Um, so yeah, those are my concluding thoughts. I'll see you tomorrow for the next video.